Good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending this webinar on how to use our digital products. We are aware you're very busy and really appreciate that you're here with us today. My name is Ainhoa Ochoa, and I am an educational consultant at Macmillan Education, responsible for secondary, bachillerato, and adults.
Hi, everyone. My name is Susana Martin, and I am Digital Portfolio Manager at Macmillan Education, responsible for our digital platforms. We'd like to welcome you to this series of online webinars with a specific focus on our digital platforms for teachers using secondary courses.
In this session today, we're going to review how to access the Macmillan Education Teacher App and set up your classes, demonstrate some of the key features of the platform, look at some easy ways in which teachers can use the platform to enhance classroom practice, also have a look at the Students app, which offers a gamified environment, and finally, look at how to use our digital content with third-party platforms. I guess you're all users of Macmillan secondary courses, and some of you are possibly familiar with the Macmillan Education Teacher App already. Before we begin, we're going to do a couple of questions so that Susana and I have some of an idea of how you're using the platform or if you're using it at all. Okay. So the first question is, are you already a user of the Macmillan Education Teacher App? I don't know if you, yes, it seems that you can see it already. We are already getting votes. 80% by the moment is, using the platform. So, yeah. Now it's going down. We've got 64% who are using the platform and 30 something who are not. So, yeah, more or less what we expected. Okay, so let's go into the second question. For those of you that have answered yes, how often do you use the Macmillan Education Teacher App in your lessons? Let's see. If people begin to answer, since I'm not answering yet, no, yes. Okay, let's wait. We still have 9 answers. Let's get some more. Okay.
And so far, I expect saying yes, they use it every day.
78, I think, is using it always. Once a week, 19. Yeah, and once every fortnight, 2%. Never 9%. Okay, so I think that we can go back and begin actually on this session today.
Yeah, okay. Hope it will be useful for everyone. Okay, so we have seen that many of you are already familiar with our platform, but for those that are starting with us this year, I think it's good to have a quick overview on it. And before that, I forgot to mention that there will be some time at the end of the session to resolve questions that you might have. So when we finish, you can use the button that says ask a question that I think is below the player. Okay, so let's start with Macmillan Education Teacher App, which is the digital solution developed by Macmillan Education for all our ELT courses. It has different features depending on which course you are teaching, primary, secondary and bachillerato, or adults. And as we have said, today we are focusing on the platform for secondary and bachillerato users. I think the best will be to start reviewing how to access the Macmillan Education Teacher App, depending on if you are already a user or if you are a first-time user with our platform this year. Okay, so I think you can all see my screen now. This is macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, a website that works as the main access point for both new and existing users to access the digital content. And sometimes we also refer to it as the Me portal. Okay, if you are a new Macmillan user, you will first need to register at macmillaneducationeverywhere.com to create your Macmillan account. As you can see here, you can create your account by registering in our platform, or you can choose to register using a Google account if you have one. Okay, if you choose to register and create an account on our platform, you will need to complete the registration form, which is very, very easy, and choose your username and password. If you prefer to register using Google account, just click on the option and select the Google account that you want to use. It's as simple as that, right?
Okay, so what about existing users? That is, teachers who used the platform last year. Do they have to register again?
Now, if you already have a Macmillan account from previous years, you can log it on the same place, macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, with your existing username and password. So you click on login, and there is no need for you to create a new account. If you don't remember your access details, you can recover them anytime by using the forgot my username or forgot my password links. And of course, existing users can also choose to log in or sign in using their Google account. Okay, I'm going to log in with my user. Okay, and once you log in, if you are new to the platform, this library, the bookshelf will be empty. But now is the moment you redeem the code that you have received. Clicking here on activate code. You just need to copy and paste the code that you have received and click on activate code. And that will show the product, the course in the library. Okay, so now that we are all on the same page and we all have an active account and have added the access code, I think we are ready to access the digital content. I think it's worth mentioning that we are doing this session using Influence today, but the content of the webinar is valid also for teachers using your Influence today, Influence, Great Thinkers, and Future Prospects. So now I know is going to
And
explain
also
us how to
influence.
access the digital
Oh,
content.
sorry, nothing. Sorry, go ahead.
So I think you can see my screen, I know. Yes, to
Yes.
explain the different tabs. There you go.
Okay, so once we have accessed our course, we will see different tabs to access the content. The first one is called Macmillan Education Apps. In this tab, you will find access to the digital platform, the Macmillan Education Teacher App. This is where you can find access to your interactive version of the digital student's book and workbook to project it on the interactive whiteboard. In these level tabs at the top, you will find access to the digital resources related to the course you teach, such as the test generator, which is the interactive tool to create tests. You can select among some pre-created tests or create your own tests if you want to. You also have access to the Teachers Resource Center, where you will find tests, videos, audios, worksheets, and plenty of photocopyable materials. If you're teaching more than one level and have added more than one access code, of course, here you will see the different tabs at the top, one for each of the levels.
Perfect. Let's go back to the first tab to access the digital platform. So if you click on View here, you will see different options. View in browser. This option allows you to access online via the web browser. Of course, you need an internet connection to use this mode. Download the app. This option allows you to access your digital content offline. So you can download both the platform and the content in order to access it without the need of an internet connection, or in case your connection is not reliable. You will need internet connection to log in the first time and of course to download the content. Then this viewing app, if you already have downloaded the app from previous years, this is a reminder that you don't need to download it again. Simply open it and log in to access the content. So for this webinar, we are using the view in browser option. So let's click on the view button. And the first thing you will see is the page view the book. But before going into detail, I'm going to review the side menu and what you will find here. So beside the access to the different books and components available, we have also some useful direct links to the Teacher Resource Center, which is the same that we have seen on the Me portal. So you can choose the access that is easier for you. The test generator, which I know has explained, is a tool that allows you to create tests and print them out for your students. And again, you can access these from this menu or from the Me portal. Classes to create and manage your classes and students. Progress here to access the progress tracker tool. homework, to send homework and tasks to your class or to your students, and online lesson, which enables you to access Google Meet, Zoom, or Teams from within the app and schedule a meeting for your students to join. This was quite useful during the pandemic, but hopefully we won't need it anymore this course.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
let's hope so. So please, never more. Okay, so before opening the digital students book, could we have a look at how to create a class and add students to it?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So on the side menu, we click on classes, and this will open a new window or a new tab. And you will see that I already have created classes. But if you are new, the first time you access this screen, it will be empty. Okay, to create your first class, click here on add a class and type the name of your class and select the course that your class will be using from the drop-down menu. And when you are ready, click on next. And the first time that you set up a class, you will see, as you can see in the screen, different options that we have to add students to our class. We can use any of these options now, or we can cancel and do this later, which is what I'm doing right now because I want to show you how to open this menu again in the future. Okay, so this one is the class that we have just created. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to access the Manage Class section. And here, if we click on Add Students, we can see again this menu with the 4 options that I'm going to review for you now. First one is I will add my students manually. And with this option, as you can see, you can type your student's first name, last name, and contact email into the fields for as many students as you need. Okay?
This looks like a very manual process, Susanna, which is fine if you want to add one student or two. But what happens if you have a lot of students to add, which is actually the case of the majority of the teachers in the country? Is there any way to make the process a bit more automatic?
Yeah, I agree. You will have much more students. If you have, if you want to add them in bulk, you can use this option, use a CSV to add my students. So with this, you can add all your students to your class at once, uploading a CSV file with the data needed here.
I bet that everyone here is wondering what a CSV file is. Can you tell us how we can get it?
Yep. To get a CSV file, you just need to create an Excel document with the 3 columns that we need, that you can see here, the student's first name, the last name, and the contact email. You might already have a document like this for other purposes. So when you have it ready, you just need to save it as a CSV file instead of saving it as an Excel document. And then you just need to upload the CSV here onto the platform. Okay.
And which contact email should I use? Can I use mine for all my pupils or should I use a fictitious account?
Well, you could use a fictitious account, but know that if your students need to reset their password at some point, the email with the steps to do it will go into this email. So if it is a fictitious one, they will never receive it. And if you use your email, you will be getting the password reset link. So my recommendation is to use real email accounts. Okay, I'm opening the menu again. Okay, by using any of these 2 options that we have just explained, you will be registering your students, and the platform will create automatic usernames and passwords for your students so that they don't need to register. However, there is another option if you want your students to register themselves and customize their own username and password, which is get students to add themselves. This is as simple as to share a class code with your students so that they can join the class. Okay, when they access the platform as students, they will see an option called join a class, and they just need to copy and paste or type in the code into that field. Very easy.
I think this is probably the most practical option, and you only need to do it once at the beginning of the year. So it's not that much of a hassle. I think it's the
Yes,
best way
yeah,
to do it.
I agree with you. And we can also provide teachers with user guides in Spanish for students or families to make it easier for them. So I think it's a very, very easy way to add the students. There is also a fourth option here that might be useful for those that are already users from last year, which is copy students over from an existing class. So if you already have classes created from last year and the students are moving to the next course, you can simply copy those students into a new class and just remember to remove them from the previous one to avoid duplicating.
So what can I do with my class as a teacher now that it is already created?
Okay, let me open another class that already has a student to show you the options. This one, for example, manage class again, and here, okay, I only have one student, but this will be the case for the whole class. So here you will be able to see and edit your students' data, add your students to the class, as we have seen. You can remove them, or you can, for example, reset their passwords.
And how do we do that?
Yeah, you want me to show the reset password thing, right? Because it's very common.
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. Right, we have two options here. One is the new password button that will generate a new automatic password for the student, or you can click on the name of the student and choose a new password for them. Okay, this one, for example, which is something that you never use. Okay, and we click on save. Save. Uno más. So this is a very easy way to reset a password from one of your students so that it doesn't delay your lesson, right? Because it's not easy when you have 2 or 3 students in the class saying, I cannot access because I don't remember my access details. So this way you can quickly access their profile, reset the password, and there you go, you can continue with your lesson. All right, so as we have seen, there are different options to add students and create classes. But if you're not sure of which one is the best for you, you can get in touch and we will advise you on the best way for your school. And now that we know how to create a class, I think we can move on and see the platform functionalities. So I'm going back to the main menu here, and I'm going to select the component that we want to see. As you can see here, you have access to the digital students book, the digital workbook, or the digital essential workbook, depending on your case. And also you have access to the on-the-go practice material, which is a student component, but you have it here so that you can see what your students have access to, or in case you want to use it in the classroom. Let's open the digital student book and access, for example, Unit 1, the first section, vocabulary. And again, the first thing you see here is the page view of the book. And what do you think we can do, here?
I think, well, it looks quite easy to use and navigate actually with these navigation arrows and the page selector on the top. So at first sight, I feel I could navigate through the book very easily. I also see the icons on the page, so I imagine I can open the interactive activities from there.
Yes, that's correct. We can open interactive activities or the audios or videos that correspond to each of the activities. So let me open one as an example. Here you can see.
And is there a way to make it bigger? Because when we're in class, sometimes we need it.
Yes, okay. I think now it's looking fine, but you can click on this icon here and it will go full screen. Okay, better.
Yes, that's much better. And I can see I can show the answers one by one or all at once, which is very useful to create the activities along with the students in class. Is this available for all the activities?
Yeah, most of the activities are interactive and self-corrective, although you will also have some other activities that are non-gradable. That means that are open answer activities that you will need to correct manually. Okay.
Okay. And how about the activities that include audio or video?
Well, in that case, as in this one, you will see the audio or the video player integrated with the activity so that you can have it on hand while doing the activity. So this is a very good example because here you have the audio player, you have the text of the reading here. So you have everything in the same place.
Okay. That's great. Can I zoom in here to increase the size of the text? Is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible to zoom in using the Control plus the plus icon here in the keyboard, because the zoom tool is not available when you have an activity open, but as we are using like a website, then we can zoom in using these tools, right? So yeah,
Okay.
it is possible.
Yeah. And what about the tools for the interactive whiteboard?
These are here, but as you were asking about the zoom, let me show you the zoom tool that we have here for the book, because in the activities, the zoom tool is not available, but when you are in the view of the book, you can zoom in here, right? And move through the page. So this is very useful when you have a text, for example, and then you can zoom out by clicking here. Yeah.
Hmm.
But you were asking about the interactive whiteboard tools, which are here
Yes.
on the left-hand side menu, and we can see each of them. We have a pen tool that we can use to write on the book within the green border that you can see here. And we can choose the thickness and the color of the pencil, okay? We also have a text tool. Again, we can choose the size of the font and the color background and a highlighter, right? And then we also have a notes tool. I'm going to remove this one, which I think is my favorite because it works like a mix of a highlighter and a notes tool because it is linked to a text. So we need to select a text, and when I release the mouse, I can see the notes icon here. I can open and add any comment or notes or a link if you want to, for example. You can choose a color to highlight the text and then just click on save. And if you see the text has been highlighted, and every time you you move the mouse over the text, you can see a quick access to your note. You can access the link, or you can delete the note, you can edit, and you can also access all your notes through this icon here on the top bar menu. Here, all the notes that you are adding to the book will be accessible from here.
Uh-huh. And do students also have access to these tools?
These are specific tools for teaching, so they only have access to the notes tool, which, as we have seen, can also be used as a highlighter. So I think it's even better than a simple highlighter because it allows the students to add notes and reminders during the class for them to review later if they want. And there is something else that I would like to show you before we move forward to the next topic, which is the quick links button. Is this button here? And this allows teachers to switch between the student's book and the workbook or quickly access other sections of the book. So here you can see that we have quick access to the grammar bootcamp section, or if we click here, we can go just with a click to the same page of the workbook or the same section.
Okay, my lords. I can see that it takes you to the same section you're actually teaching or
Exactly.
the other component that you're using. So I think this is really useful when you're teaching so that the class flows well and to keep the attention of the students.
Exactly. We go back to the student book just with a click.
Okay, so let's go back to the main menu because I really like to see the homework feature. Can you show it to us?
Yeah, of course, it is a very useful tool. It is available for secondary, bachillerato, and adult courses. And I think so far we have seen the basics of our platform, which is what some teachers need because they use the digital to project in the interactive whiteboard, play audios and videos, and to do the activities or to correct the activities along with their students. But if you want to go further with digital, I think you will like this tool. Okay, so briefly, the homework feature allows you to send homework to your students. And it's worth to mention that in order to use the homework, you first need to create a class and add the students to it. And the students need to activate their access code, okay? Otherwise, it's not going to work.
And
So I'm
how
going
do
to
we use
access. Yes, let me show you. I click on homework and I'm going to create a new piece of homework, okay? So we have to choose the course. For example, well, I don't have students here. Okay, let me choose another one where I have students, for example. Okay, so in here, I only have a student, but of course, you can assign homework to the whole class or to specific students only. I'm going to select the student I have here. We click on next. And the next step is to select the students that you want to assign to your students. Okay, so in here you can see you have all the units and all these different sections. So for example, if we want to select a couple of activities from the vocabulary section in unit 1 and one activity from the reading, that will be all. And we click on next. And here you can configure your homework, adding, like, for example, a deadline. Let's imagine the homework is starting today, and we are giving our students to, for example, Monday to complete the piece of homework. We can choose whether we want to accept submissions due, past due date or not. I'm going to say no. We can put a homework title, for example, grammar exercise. This is just as an example. You can edit your name here, and here you can add any comments or links to your message before sending it with your students. So when you are ready, we click on next. We can review that everything is correct. And if we are happy, then just click on here and send to students. Right? Okay. So once the homework has been sent, if students have installed the Macmillan Education Student App on their smartphones, they will receive a notification on their mobiles so that they know that there are new tasks waiting for them. We can also access any piece of homework sent, like the one we have just created, to edit or remove it, or to share it with our students using Google Classroom. For example, this will share the piece of homework directly to Google Classroom, but we can also share it with any other communication system that you have with your students. It might be email or WhatsApp or any other messaging tool or any platform, because it is as simple as to copy this link and share it with your students. So no excuses to make the homeworks.
Okay, so even though it is not a teacher component, could we see a bit of the students app?
Yep, I have it right here. So I'm going to change. I think you can now see my, no, yes, you can see my screen again. If we can project, because I am ready.
In,
Yes, here.
in any case,
Okay.
while you log in, can I just explain one thing? I would like to
Mhm.
explain that depending on the license your students have, they will access to different materials. That is, they might have access to only the student's book or the workbook or both components. And the students who have the workbook will also have access to the students app, which will be, we will be showing now.
Yeah, exactly. So all these components that I know has just mentioned, the digital student book, the digital workbook, and the co-practice are within the students app, which is what I'm showing you right now. Students can access through macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, and they can access online, as I am doing right now, or they can also download the Students app and install on any device. They also have an app available in Google Play and App Store, which is great if they can install, because then they will receive notifications every time you teachers assign them homework. And another benefit for all their students is that they can access their course on the go whenever they are. Okay, so as I said, for this session, I am using the online version. And when they access their level, they will see the different components included in their license. As I know I has explained, depending on which book or which component they have, they will see one thing or all of the components. In this case, we have access to the digital student book, the digital workbook, and the on-the-go practice and the Student Resource Center. The digital student book and the digital workbook are more or less exactly the same as what we have seen for teachers, but without the option of showing the answers one by one. But they also have the page view of the book and interactive activities to be complete. And I like to highlight this component, the on-the-go practice, which contains lots of gradable activities to practice their vocabulary, grammar, writing, and speaking skills. Okay, so here you will have like many activities for them to practice. And the app has also a challenge mode here. You see it changes the color. We access again the level. And here in the challenge mode, they will have a timer and they will need to complete the activities before the time is over and without losing any lives. It has a bit of a gamification flavor. So this makes students repeat the activity over and over again if they wish to try to improve their results and get more badges. And as we know, it's very important, the repetition, when we speak about language learning. So this is very nice in the challenge mode. They also have access here to the homework. So as you can see here, this is the homework that we have just assigned to this student. So the homework will be under the to-do tab or under the complete tab, depending on the status of the homework. Okay, so here they can access the homework that we have just assigned, and they can see here your message and the due date and everything. And whenever they want, they can start doing the task. Under the more option here is where we can find the option to join a class. And I just wanted to show you this because I know it's a bit hidden. So in case you have questions from your students, here's where they can join a class. It's in the more icon. And here, if they click on join a class, they can enter the class code here and they will be joining the class. And to finish this quick review of the student app, in this option here, progress, the students or the parents, if they want, they will be able to check their progress on the digital student book or the digital workbook or the components they have. So they can check their performance and how many activities they have complete. As you can see, there are lots of activities to complete. So there's lots of practice within this component. And talking about progress, I know it's a good moment for you to explain how teachers can track their students' progress within our platform. What do you think?
Yes. Okay, so let's keep on with the progress tracker. And this means that we have to go to the Teachers App and so that we can
Okay.
explain it how it works. So the progress
Monique,
tracker is available. You're there already? Okay. So
yes.
the progress tracker is accessible from the main side menu on the left, and it provides the option to easily monitor a student's progress as they complete activities in any of the components available. First thing you need to do is to choose the component that you want to see the student progress of among the components available. In this case, we're going to focus on the workbook as it is usually the most used component. So let's see when it comes. Yeah, this is the overall view of your class. We have a filter at the top to filter if we want to see the whole class or one student in particular, and the same with the different units. If there are no filters, we see the overall class information, which is great to see how the class is doing at a glance. Okay. As we can see, we only have one student in this class. I understand in your classes you will have more students, but this is just to exemplify how the tool works. We can see how much they have completed, or in this case, he has completed in the book. The time he's spent doing the activities, the attempts, and the average result based on the highest result, first or last attempt. It is very easy to see the student's progress with the circles that appear next to the student. These represent each of the units and include other sections, such as the different sections in the color part of the workbook. So this is why you have that many circles. With the legend here, it is very easy to see the status of each student in the units. So for example, empty circle means this unit hasn't been started. Circle with a clock, it means that it's in progress, the student is working on it. Circle with a question mark, it means that the activities need to be revised by the teacher. And green circle means that the unit is complete. If we click on one of the students, in this case, Lucas, poor Lucas, we can see his progress within the book. Let's see. So here we see all the activities in one lesson, but to simplify and so that it is easier to use, we can use the filter and choose unit 1 because this way um, we are only going to see this unit. And this way, yeah, we have all the results much more manageable. So let's go to workbook unit 1, grammar present, simple activity, affirmative and negative. And let's open it. Yes. Here we can see that Lucas got a 60% of the activity. So we have the possibility to see the actual activity he did by clicking on the eye icon next to the activity we want to see. This morning, this wasn't working, but we've just, we've informed our digital department, and it seems it's not working
I was
yet.
just trying, Noah, just in case, but it is not fixed. But we promise our teachers that when you click on the little eye icon, you will see exactly the activity as the student has done it, so that you can see where are they failing, right?
Yes, in this very particular case, the student didn't get the S of the third person. So this probably means that, well, this student is having problem with that, and we might have to decide to explain it again, or asking this student to do more practice on these third person singular activities. I think the progress tracker is a great tool so that teachers can keep an eye on how their students are doing and make decisions on what needs to be reinforced in the class so that we can use class time in the best way possible.
Yeah, completely agree. I know. And what I really like about the progress tracker is that it not only focuses on the scores, which you also have it here. I mean, if you want to see the score for the first and the last attempt, you have here the scores, but it allows the teachers to see where the students need help, really. And in the first screen, it is great that you can see all your class at a glance because, for example, you can see if you have a class of 30 students and you can see that, I don't know, 28 they have already reached unit 3, for example, at some point, but you have 2 students that are still in unit 1. At a glance, you can see that there is a problem with these 2 students. You don't know what is happening. You don't know if this is a technical issue or if they are having problems with the content. But at a glance, you can see that something is happening with these 2 students. So I really like that the progress tracker is a very useful tool for them to ensure that no one is left behind, right? So I really like that idea. And what else do we have to say about the progress tracker? Worth mentioning that the results can be exported into a CSV or an Excel doc format file, which are compatible with other marking tools, such as, for example, Aditio or other LMSs or learning management systems that allows you to upload the scores into their platform. So if you are using a platform that allows you to upload an Excel document with the scores, you can download it from here and you can fit into the platform you use, any other third-party platform.
So
Okay.
you've just mentioned third-party platforms. This was always important for teachers, but I think that it was even more important since the pandemic. Those platforms are really used since then, and they've become really popular.
Yes, this was always important for teachers, but I agree with you even more since the pandemic, where the tools and platforms have become very, very popular. And third-party platforms have become key for some teachers. So I think it's a very good idea to give an overview on where we are in terms of integrations. Our content included in Macmillan Education Teacher App, like Influence Today or Great Thinkers, is compatible with Moodle platforms using marsupial licenses or LTI integration. So both teacher and students can access their digital books via the LMS, the learning management system they use. Schools just need to request it, and we will provide them with the marsupial licenses or with the connection details needed to set up everything in their learning management systems.
That's really good. What about Google Classroom and Microsoft Teams? These have become very popular among teachers, as you know.
Yes, and as we explained at the beginning, and you can see users can log in now in our platform using the Google credentials, which makes everything so much easier for those of you using Google Classroom. But I think what everybody expects when we talk about integration with Google is that little Google Classroom icon that allows us to share the content directly from the platform to the Google Classroom class, right? That is not available just yet on our platform, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use the Macmillan content with Google Classroom or with Microsoft Teams. Because if you open Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, you can share a material or a task with your student. And that task might be to make the activities in the Influence Today platform and complete activities on page 12, for example. So in that case, we just need to create the task, and to help students to know where to access the activities, we can share the link to the platform with them, which is student.macmillaneducationeverywhere.com. I don't know if I mentioned that before, that quick access that our teachers can add to their favorites. As we said, we can access the content via macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, but if you don't want to go through the Me portal, you can access this quick link to your favorites, which is for teachers is teachers.macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, and for students is student.macmillaneducationeverywhere.com. So as we have explained, you can share a task in Google Classroom and just add this link so that students know where to access, because I'm aware that you might be using different platforms with different books. So it will be easier for them if we can provide them with a link to access. Then to track the student result, I would prefer to use the progress tracker that I know has just shown us. But I know some teachers prefer to ask their students to take photos or screenshots of the activities complete and upload them to the Google Classroom or to the Microsoft Teams for them to correct. That is up to you. You need to choose the way that works better for you. And if you want to go further and improve the digital competence of your students, which is something very, very important these days, and we all know, very present in the LOE, there are some activities in our books that are very likely to be extended using other apps and tools that many of our teachers know very, very well. And with this purpose, we have created a series of booklets named Let's Get Digital that you can see here. This is to help teachers to choose the appropriate app to exploit our content and get the most of their students. As you can see here, we have many different proposals, and then there is another section with guidelines, tips, and recommendations for using technology and teaching students how to use it in a healthy way. It includes advice on security and content and data management, digital well-being, problem solving. I think it's quite complete and very, very useful. And in order to develop this content, we have taken into account the European framework of digital competences, on which the digital competences included in the LOMLOE are based. So we're not just selecting tools just because we want to use digital tools. It is thought to reinforce the digital competences of your students. You'll find this booklet for Influence Today, Your Influence Today, Great Thinkers, and Future Prospects in your course section in Advantage. But I think before talking about Advantage, I think I know it's a good moment to see if there are any questions regarding our digital platform, okay? Because we still have some time, so we can see.
I think there are some questions there already. If you can think of any other questions that, or, areas that have remained unclear, or you simply want to ask any other question, please type them into the chat box, and Susanna and I will try to answer them.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a few questions that you've been raising through the webinar. So some of them, I think we have already replied to them with the content of the webinar. So for example, Christina was asking if there is a way to see the platform as a student, because they have a menu on the platform that teachers don't. And that's why we have opened the Students app. So Christina, I hope you have resolved your question, but if not, do get in touch and we can send you the user manual. How do you send homework to your students? This was a question from Maria. And again, I think we have resolved this question during the webinar and see how we can send homework to our students. Someone, if there, I think there are some questions with the specific situations. So for example, Cynthia saying that the quick button is not activated in future prospect. In those cases, for specific situations, I would recommend you get in touch with our customer care department. We are going to give you the contact details in a moment so that they can deal with you and with your specific situation, right? Okay, let's see, what else do we have here? What's the name of the app in Google Play Store? This is a question from Laura. The name of the Students app is Macmillan Education Student App, I think, from the top of my head. Okay, yeah, there is a teacher here, Raquel, saying that they have an iPad, which is the best way to use Influence because there is not an app. Exactly, yeah, there is not an app for teachers, so you can use using the browser version. So accessing teacher.macmillaneducationeverywhere.com, and you can access the content using the browser. This one that maybe you can help with, I know Christina is asking if the activities in the challenge and on the go practice are the same. And I think if the content is the same, I think what changes is that you have like 60 seconds to complete the activities, right? But I'm not sure if the activities are the same or not.
Yeah, the activities are the same. The difference is that the challenge one is more gamified. It's for students to, you know, if they've got time, they get excited and they have to complete the activity within that time. But yeah, activities are the same.
Yes, there is a question here from Joanna that says that on the cover of your Influence today, I realized there is a Kahoot symbol. Is it because there are some of those already made up for us teachers to use? I think this one is for you.
Yes, those you can find them in the Teachers Resource Center, but also in Advantage that we will be explaining a bit right now in the section of Influence today within Advantage. Yes.
Right. What else do we have here? Are there exams for the teachers as with pools? This is a question from Rosa. I know.
Can you
I don't know.
say it again?
Yeah, they were asking if there are exams. I guess she's referring to Influence Today, which is what we are showing today. She's asking about exams for teachers as they had it in pools.
Yes. You have a test generator, and then also you have those same tests, but in PDF format and also in Word format, so that you can edit them and you can use the format or the the format that you want.
Great. Okay, I can see a question here from what is it? Mari Carmen asking about Advantage and if it still works, and we're going to talk about Advantage in a moment. What is Sergio was asking why don't the students have the option to highlight text in their books? Well, they don't have the highlighter tool as we have seen, but they have the notes tool that can be used as a highlighter. So they can, I mean, even if they only want to highlight and they don't want to add a note, they can add like a dot or something, and they can use the notebook as a highlighter. But I'm going to take your feedback and pass it on to our digital department so that they can take it into account, okay? What else? Ta-da. I'm just filtering and seeing if we, because some of the questions are repeat. Do you, Francesc is asking if we are going to record this webinar, and yes, this is being recording. So you will find the video in Advantage so that you can see it again if you need. Christina is asking, could the on-the-go exercises be posted as teacher resources to download in case we want to use them in class or as a revision? You have it available in your teacher license, Christina. As we have seen, when you access the Macmillan Education Teacher App, you can see the digital student book, the digital workbook, and also the on-the-go practice. So you can use it in the classroom or for revision if you want.
There are quite a lot of questions, and maybe we're not going to have time to answer all of them. But we'll make note of all these questions and ask our help department to contact all of you so that they can give you an answer.
Right, okay. So yes, maybe, yeah, I mean, if there are any questions that we haven't resolved here, I'm going to download every question so that we can get in touch with you and resolve any specific questions that you have, because there are things that are very specific questions. And now I think I know we can explain about Advantage, because there were a few questions asking how to access Advantage.
Yes, Macmillan Advantage is a resources and help platform for Macmillan users to make everything around your class much more simple so that you can focus on teaching and motivating your students. If you haven't registered yet, you can do it at advantage.macmillan.es. If you're already a user from other years, your Advantage user will still be available. And if not, so you should contact our help department. So in any case, what does Advantage offer? So it offers all in one place. All the resources are all in one place, available anytime and anywhere. You can access from the school, from home, or from anywhere you might need to. Imagine, wherever you are, you can access. If you need a last minute audio or a video, you have everything available to download and always in editable formats that allow personalizing. Here you can also access the Kahoot that you asked before in the questions. You also have access to video tutorials of the digital products and access to the help desk in case you have some problem and need to ask for help with the platform. Susanna will explain you later how. We have more than 200 resources classified by age and skills, as in Spotify, for example. And here you will also find lots of resources for festivities such as Halloween that we will have like soon. Also, you have access to training sessions for teachers. And for example, this one will be uploaded there. There are more than 200 training sessions, videos classified by topics and age. We will upload, this session too, as I just said before. And we have updated and adapted materials to your need. Every month, we upload new content to meet your needs. For example, we upload adaptations of the programaciones for the new legislation changes, the LOMLOE. So you'll have them there, and things like rubrics, well, lots of interesting stuff that you can find in Advantage. So let's go on with the customer care.
Yes,
Susanna?
because it's good to remind our teachers that we have a customer care department and a team of technicians that are available for you if you need it. So you can contact them at this email address, atencioncliente@macmillaneducation.com. So I think it's all, Ainhoa, and we've been very good with timing, which I think everyone will appreciate, I'm sure.
Yes, we're gonna finish 5 minutes before the time. That's amazing. Anyway, thank you very much for attending this session. We hope it has been useful and would be grateful if you could please complete the questionnaire you have access to before leaving the session. Your feedback is essential for us so that we can improve our training sessions in the future and so that those training sessions are adapted to your needs. Filling the questionnaire will only take you a couple of minutes and will help us a lot. So please, please, please fill it in. And we haven't
That's
got
it.
anything else to say.
No, it's moment to say goodbye. Many thanks for coming, and see you soon in a future webinar. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Noam. Bye.